Hello, hello, and welcome to a new segment that we have on the Millennial Conservative Network, and it is called Midnight Rampants. And what we're going to do is talk about any and everything that is on your mind, whatever's been bothering you, what's keeping you up at midnight as of now. So, right now, I know we've had Charlie Kirk's memorial, and if you want to talk about that, just come on in the chat. Let me know what you think about it. How did you feel about it? What are some of your emotions? I know they had a visual all over the world, or at least in the United States, I'll say that. And there was just a lot of emotions going on. Of course, we're deeply sad. And where do we go from here? Now that we've had the memorial service, what's next for us? How do we keep Charlie's legacy going? If you want to discuss that. So I'm just going to let some of you all wait till you kind of come in. And let's get the discussion going. What's on your mind? What may be bothering you? What may be keeping you up tonight? What are some of the things that you would like to discuss now? Again, we have Charlie Kirk's memorial. I was looking at something else at the moment. And then Candace Owens. How do you all feel about Candace and what she's saying about Charlie? Do you think Israel had something to do with his death? Do you think we have the correct killer in custody? And if not, who killed Charlie Kirk? Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it. Right now, we're going to look at some of... Again, this is Midnight Rampants. This is for us to talk about any and everything that is on our mind, what's happening today, what is causing us to have so much stress, or if we just need to talk. We need someone to talk to because there's no one out there who's willing to listen. You know, everybody's so judgmental now. And so I'm up late, so what I'm going to do is just catch another one of Candace videos. Let's see if we can't share my screen.
I should at first let you know that the Senate has voted and they have passed a bipartisan resolution to designate October 14th, which is Charlie's birthday, as Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day.
Let's make this larger.
That is a very government maneuver. Like, we get a, why did they do that? To discuss today? Well, it has been going viral. A mere minutes after Charlie Kirk is shot, there are two men that look rather mysterious. They appear, they move his chair, and they take down the camera that's directly or was directly behind his head. Why did they do that? Well, fortunately, I was able to establish connection with one of those individuals, and I was also able to see the footage with my own eyes. What I saw was very interesting, but what I didn't see was even more interesting. So let's jump right back into this. Welcome back to Candace.
She has her own theory about what happened to Charlie Kirk. And again, tonight we're doing Midnight Rampant.
Okay, rare Friday episode. Gotta do Friday episode here because this is just so important. And the vultures are circulating above, man. They are definitely insisting that we stop investigating this. I should at first let you know that the Senate has voted and they have passed a bipartisan resolution to designate October 14th, which is Charlie's birthday, as Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day. And I have to say that is a very government maneuver. Like, we get a Martin Luther King Day, we've got Martin Luther King boulevards, John F. Kennedy gets a library and a national day of mourning. But you know what? You know what I was thinking? I'd like to just find out who killed them all first.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. Who killed them? Before we give them a library, I'd like to know who did it. I think that's the best way for us to learn. The best way for us to remember is to study, right? That's what I learned at grade school. That's what we're doing right now. We're studying this and learning everything. Let's at first address what many people have been emailing me constantly, asking me, Candace, you gotta look into this, you gotta look into this. Look at these two strange men. We're gonna refer to this as Cameragate. It's Cameragate. And I wanna say this, shout out to all of the internet sleuths, the TikTokers, the YouTubers, those of you who were not playing around and you noticed this, because I did not in the beginning. But yes, as I said, there's an individual who is at first, in the moment just after the shooting, he's like up on the rocks near the car that Charlie gets taken away in while he's being carried away. Let's take a look at that footage actually first. So let's look at that footage. And don't worry, there's no gore in this episode. Difficult for me to even look at that sort of footage. Take a look. You can see Charlie's there. And one of you guys caught this. You probably didn't even see it there. And we can get in a little closer. Do you guys have it slow it down, or do you guys just want to circle here? Okay. Right there.
Oh, wow.
Right there. An individual standing there. Again, I am just amazed at internet sleuths, as I was like, wow, that is very strange. That person appears to be calmly talking into their phone. It's like a circus around them. What's he doing? Who's he speaking to? Then, just a couple of minutes afterward, that same individual appears alongside another individual, and he moves Charlie's chair. That's a crime scene. That's not good. And he moves it because he wants to stand on it as he takes down the cameras, or the camera rather, that is just above Charlie's head. That's the camera that I'm talking about on the right-hand side. That's a camera that I'm referring to, and we are going to now take a look at him. And he is also the individual, as many of you pointed out, that was near Charlie or just before the assassination. But let's check out that footage of him in the immediate aftermath, kind of switching around the cameras, the two of them. Take a look.
Clean out fireworks. This area. Let me cordon off this up. Safety team is here. I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. Charlie Kirk got hit, is what the security detail just said.
Don't worry, guys. We're going to get closer. This is just a wide shot so you can see what's going on here, and then we'll get a bit closer. I know you guys have pulled apart this footage a million ways, and thank you for that. And here's the closer version of that. You can see, slowed down here, he pulls out the chair, he stands on it, and yes, that would be a big no-no for a crime scene. You don't move anything. He takes down the camera that is directly above where Charlie was sitting and would be able to provide, therefore, a lot of insight. And then you can see he kind of sits the camera onto the desk, and it looks like he removes the SIM card from it, or the SD card, if you will, which we're watching right here. So I'm going when I saw this footage, who is that? Like, actually, I should be able to figure this out because I've got a pretty big network at Turning Point USA. The person's wearing shades. I'm not recognizing the individual. And I reach out to somebody on the inside and I'm just like, who's this person? And they tell me the person's name and I go, oh, wait a second. And I look again, I'm like, I know this person because it's been a few years, but I know this person. This person's been around Turning Point for quite some time, for years. Like I said, back when I was working at Turning Point, early days. So I'm like, I'm just going to reach out. Obviously, I know this individual. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to say, hey, what's up with this? Where is this footage? Why did you do this? What were you doing up there on the rocks? What's up? Like, this is not the first thing that I would do if I had just witnessed Charlie Kirk being shot. And I'll say this right now. He was extremely forthcoming. Like, as soon as I reached out, I just sent a text because I still had his number. And he was extremely forthcoming, immediately got onto the phone. And first and foremost, I should say, obviously, he's seeing all of these clips going viral and he is fearful for his family. Doesn't have any security and people are looking, And he said, look, as you can see in the footage, I was sitting right to the left or to the left of Charlie when Charlie got shot, and I instantly knew that he was not going to be okay. I instantly knew that he was dead. And I then, like, as you can see, people that are running, anybody that was in that zone, ran to the back, and he caught his breath.
Okay. And again, for those who's joining, this is just a Midnight Rampant. Anything you would like to talk about, feel free to do so. Currently, I'm just going to watch a video with Candace talking about Charlie and get an understanding of what's happening. Do you think it's a conspiracy that's going on? Do you think we have the right person that actually, unfortunately, took his life? Or is there somebody else out there? What do you all think? So we're just going to continue the video.
He wanted to check in with and communicate to other people that were working with and around Turning Point USA. That's why he's on his phone, communicating to them what had happened. That's what he told me. Then I asked, okay, well, what about this camera thing? Why would you grab the cameras? And he says, because the first thing that I thought is that I better secure the footage and be helpful and hand that footage over to the feds. Well, obviously, that's where things get into a pickle with me because we don't trust the feds, right? I'm like, no, we don't trust the feds. So we don't got to do that. Just let me have the footage. I'm like, just send me the footage, please. Let me look at it. There's a lot of conspiracies that are floating around right now. People don't know what to believe. People are doing what I would say, credible videos. People that certainly have the credibility are ballistics experts that are saying that what we see in the front is an exit wound, not an entry wound. I don't know one way or the other because I'm not an expert. I'm getting inundated with messages from people that hunt, people that are in the military saying that this had to have come from another direction. This footage could help. As if nothing else, let me help you. Let me formally debunk that by seeing this footage. Like, could you send this footage over to me? Well, he didn't want to send the footage over to me without checking with Turning Point lawyers. I said, look, technically, you own the footage. Like, you and some other people own the footage. Like, let me just see the footage because why go through lawyers? Like, I just want to see the footage. And also I asked the question, why not just release it? We've already seen the worst thing that you could possibly see from the front, right? Like, the front is what is a traumatizing video. And I understand that he wants to afford his wife some protection. Like, this has, to experience that, Erica, so many people watching the love of your life in the last second of their life, it's traumatizing. I'm traumatized by it, right? That's not my husband and the father of my children. And so out of a loyalty to Erica, he also doesn't want to give more footage to the internet. But I said, look, I'm not going to publish it. I just want to see it. And I think you should let me see that because people trust me. They know that I'm very serious about this. I don't care about anything right now other than figuring out who killed Charlie Kirk. So in the short run, he agrees that rather than send the footage, he will get onto a FaceTime call with me and he will show me the footage on his computer. He did that, and I watched the footage.
So, let me know if you can hear me again. This is a new segment that I'm trying out. It's called Midnight Rampants, and it's really for us to discuss anything under the sun. If you just need someone to talk to, if you're having a hard day at work, you have family problems, medical issues, whatever it is. So this is what this segment is about. Currently, I'm just watching Candace and her talk about Charlie and his death and the conspiracy that surrounded his death. If you think he was unfortunately killed by someone else, share your thoughts, share your proof. This is for us to talk about anything. So if you have any comments, please feel free to chime in. Feel free to just discuss something that's on your mind.
And I'm going to tell you what I saw. And to the people specifically, the people that are in the military, people that know weapons, I'm telling you this because you might be able to add more color or more clarity here. What you would expect to see if given the weapon that they have said did this, the bullet they have said did this. I don't know anything about any of this, so I'm just telling you what I saw, okay? First and foremost, there is nothing gory about this shot at all. And so again, I am still going to work with him to get me the footage so that I think it should be shared. There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood. There's no blood from the back. There is no blood. So I think a lot of people were wondering whether or not that bullet pierced and went out to the back. I think I vaguely even remember, and Skylar, you can maybe live look this up, but like I thought the feds were saying they were looking for a bullet at some point, which is now very alarming to me. I don't understand that. How could they have been looking for a bullet? Because if I'm not seeing, and there isn't, I'm telling you, what happens in the front is not what happens in the back at all. If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that? The only thing that could make sense, if what they're saying is true and that person took the shot from the place that they are saying that individual took the shot from, it would suggest that it was inside of Charlie, right? And they would know that. The feds would have known that. So they would have communicated that they were never looking for a bullet. Because remember, one shot. So I'm very confused. I'm very confused, not by what I saw, but what I didn't see. Okay? That's pretty much all I can tell you right now. And I am going to try to get all of the footage. And I understand that right now he is very fearful. But I am going to continue to try to privately push him to just release it. I believe that transparency is the only way. I'm much more, I think all of us would agree, I have much more trust in the people than I do in the feds. The feds are lying about everything, so they should not be the only people that have access to this. And I understand not wanting to have that relived from another angle, but given the fact that there is no gore and there is no blood from this angle, I don't see why not. And so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I know some of you guys were insinuating, I got a lot of emails that it could have been a flechette. I had to look that up. I don't even know what that is. I was like, guys, I don't know anything. Flechette shells, that something could have been a lot closer that hit him and that everything else could have been a distraction. All I can tell you is that there's no blood. That's it. There is no blood in that video. So give me your thoughts on that. Now I want to get to another tip that I received that is pretty interesting because, look, as you guys know, when I began investigating this assassination, at no point did I ever speculate that any other country was involved. I never speculated that Israelis were involved. So it was surprising, to say the least, that they're simply pretending that I did, pretending that I blamed Israel, pretending that I said Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. It is now, like I said yesterday, it feels like they are trying to get ahead of something, like they know more than we know. I don't know why you would say something or accuse somebody of saying something that they didn't. I do believe that there's very clearly, we all believe there's very clearly a government level conspiracy that is involved. Okay, there's no other way to assess those disastrous text messages. Absolute disaster of a Fed operation with those messages. Yesterday, I pretty casually mentioned to you guys something, that the doorbell cam footage, which TMZ happened upon somehow, was from a street upon which a ton of employees that work for Caldera Engineering live. We showed you, I think, one or two of those employees, the husband and wife I had mentioned worked for Caldera Engineering, and it is a country that purports to manufacture valves. And I said this, I said, I know nothing about the valve industry. All I know is that every time I start investigating a government conspiracy or looking into people that are really shady, like Harley Pasternak, thus far 3 people who I've investigated who oddly, either them or their families had backgrounds working in this very niche valve and piping industry, like manufacturers of valves and pipes. I'm like, is everybody doing that? This is very strange. Well, many of you emailed me something that was quite surprising. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but they let me know that this is a very niche industry. And by niche, I mean that you asserted that it implies major government contracts, likely the CIA. Those of you who have worked at those industries telling me that there are even certain valves that are exclusively manufactured in Israel, and that they tend to be involved in this. The government and the military tend to be involved in this. And that even, by the way, on Caldera's website, they noted that they have worked in Israel. They have a map that they note every country that they have done engineering projects in, and one of them or 2 dots are in Israel. And somebody explained why the government gets involved when it comes to valves and piping. And I'm just going to read you this email because maybe there are people at home who are just as ignorant as I am about government level engineering, okay? This person wrote, "Hi, Candace. I wanted to share some detailed information regarding valves, piping, and their relevance to critical infrastructure and intelligence communities. Valves as critical infrastructure assets. Modern industrial valves are used in pipelines, water treatment plants, power plants, and chemical facilities, are often automated and networked, forming part of operational technology and SCADA systems. This allows remote monitoring and control of the flow of gas, oil, water, and chemicals. Cybersecurity implications. These valves are part of systems that could be targeted for cyber attacks. Compromised valves can cause pipeline ruptures, water contamination, or industrial accidents. Because of this, intelligence and regulatory agencies, the CISA, NSA, PHMSA, FERC, monitor valve networks and may maintain trusted relationships with manufacturers and engineers to ensure security and resilience. Integration with above ground systems. Modern valve networks can also integrate with cameras, sensors, alarms, and environmental monitoring. This means that an operator could simultaneously monitor flow, view live video, and respond to alarms, which enhances both security and operational oversight. And strategic value for intelligence communities. Knowledge of valve locations, models, and control systems provide insight into critical infrastructure vulnerabilities. Access to or relationships with manufacturers allows agencies to monitor, assess, and secure supply chains. Remote monitoring of valves and integrated systems can support emergency response simulations and national security exercises. And then they provide us with the real-world context by writing, companies like Caldera Engineering in Provo, Utah, manufacture specialized industrial valves and control systems. While no public evidence currently links them to intelligence contracts, their products could theoretically be part of OT systems monitored by government agencies due to the critical nature of the infrastructure that they serve. In short, valves themselves are simple mechanical devices, but when networked and embedded in critical infrastructure, they become strategically important for monitoring security and intelligence purposes. That just sounds right to me. That, I mean, I'm telling you, every story, I'm like, what is this person? It's like their family's in valve. Like, I mean, I don't know anybody whose family did this. I don't know. Again, like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, we don't know, but we know. And that hit. And I feel like there is a bigger piece of this that involves Caldera. And like I said, I perceive a government conspiracy. You'd be a fool not to see a government conspiracy here, especially with the way that I am being attacked for simply trying to investigate this. And the attacks are growing frantic. It's almost as if they all received an email from somebody who said, I don't care what you say, make it up out of thin air, and do not stop attacking Candace Owens. That is the loudest. It's like an alarm went off. And everyone, people that I thought I was friends with, are coming after me with obscene lies that are just so easily fact-checked. So easily, you can debunk them in 4 seconds on the internet, and they're delivering it as though it's honest. We're going to talk about that. I was even surprised PBD. I mean, I've always been friendly with him. I've always been kind to him. I have nothing wrong to him. And he seems to be kind of, he's the one who platformed without any pushback, Eric Bolling. And I have an idea about why all of that may be. I'll tell you in just a second. First, I want to remind you guys about GNO land, because what if smart contract platforms were not controlled by the elites or big tech? What if they were built by and for real builders, the people? That's the question that GNO land asked, and that's why they built GNO land. They started with Golang, which is a language real-world developers already use, and they built a new platform around it. It's transparent, it's intuitive, and it just makes sense. There's not some confusing system of ones and zeros. It's open source, so imagine GitHub, but designed for on-chain collaboration and composability. Builders actually get credit for their work, and they get rewarded. So every time that their code gets used, that's the real value. It's not likes, there's not clout, it's actual rewards. GNO land rejected proof of stake, which is a system where the rich run the show. They went instead with proof of authority, a DAO where contributors and not bad actors or Silicon Valley actually call the shots. GNO.land is open, it's fair, and honestly, it's pretty unstoppable. So if you are a builder, a freedom lover, or just tired of rigged platforms, please check it out over at gno.land/Candace. Again, that's gno.land/Candace. Now, I have watched too many people who I am close to be vilified for standing up for the truth. I have felt the sting of injustice myself, but I've also felt something else, which is courage. I'm done playing defense. I'm not going to water down what I believe to be palatable, because silence is not kindness at all. It's consent in many ways. And right now, the greatest silence is around the lives that are being ended before they take their first breath. If we're going to call ourselves defenders of life, then we have to act like that. That's why I'm asking you guys to join me to fight back with action, with truth, with love. For just $28, that is what it costs to give a free ultrasound to a woman that's in crisis and considering an abortion. You can help her to see the life that is growing inside of her and to give her truth that the culture won't. So don't sit this out. Do not wait for permission. Be bold, be clear, be unapologetic in your pro-life stance. Go to preborn.org/Candace right now. Give $28. Give 10 times that if you can, actually, because this is the line and it's time to stand on it. We must stand for truth and what is right. We must save lives from abortion and stand firm in the gospel. Again, that is preborn.org/Candace to provide an ultrasound for just $28. Also telling you guys about the Wellness Company, because it is flu season, which means that it's also flu shot season. After everything that we've been through over the last 5 years, the number of people getting flu shots is at a record low. I'm so grateful for that. Not to mention the fact that according to the CDC's own data, the flu shot is only moderately effective at best, and that's not even accounting for vaccine injuries. There is a much better way to stay healthy. Grab a contagion emergency kit from the Wellness Company. If you wake up with a sore throat or runny nose, address your symptoms immediately with a doctor-prescribed kit containing ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, generic Tamiflu, generic Z-Pak, and much more. It's like having an urgent care clinic in your own home. I have a contagion emergency kit from the Wellness Company because I refuse to be trapped in line at an emergency room or to rely on expensive insurance. If I catch a cold, I simply open my kit, reference the doctor-written guidebook for safe use, and I get back to life. This kit is literally a lifesaver with thousands of reviews from people just like you and me who have had the kit ready in a time of need. So head over to twc.health/Candace today and use code Candace to save $48. Get it now before cold and flu season kicks into high gear. twc.health/Candace with code Candace for $48 off. The kits are available to U.S. residents only. Okay. All right. So let's get into how weird these headlines are getting. It's very strange. And I think we know why it's happening. We obviously know why it's happening. But even the publications that are usually not so blatant, because in order to be a propagandist, you want to be effective, right? You got to lie a little and get people to believe you, not just do things that are just so nakedly deceptive that people go, okay, why am I even reading this publication? Well, the Daily Mail put out this headline about me. Again, if it this, look at this journalist, Victoria Churchill, who reached out. She writes, Candace Owens rages after being snubbed from the Charlie Kirk Memorial speaking roster. When did this happen? Like, the lying here is actually making me uncomfortable. I told you yesterday that we received way too many emails about Charlie's memorial. All of them were asking specifically for me to confirm that I was going. Didn't feel good to me. It felt very inauthentic. I know these journalists are not my friends. I knew they were writing hit pieces, but all of them included that question. Are you going? Are you going to go? Like, you want me to confirm my attendance so that you know where I'm going to be ahead of time? Am I being paranoid, or does that seem like a little weird? Even on PBD's show, where he just gives a platform to a guest to completely lie for 2 minutes straight, there is this random second where PBD rather oddly says something along the lines of, you don't think she's going to the funeral? Like, they keep talking about this. Take a listen again.
At some point, her credibility, is going to go down the tubes because she needs to bring receipts. Bill Ackman brought receipts. How long was that tweet?
It's still going. I think
he was there in the
still
room.
reading it.
Andrew Colbert was there in the room. You're on the board of Turning Point?
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Candace Owens?
In person?
Yeah.
2015,
Oh, wow.
2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
When's the last time she was at a Turning Point event?
Not in many years.
Okay.
But
so let's
you don't
without
have to
even
do this,
being
Adam.
biased.
There's
Candace even involved in Charlie Kirk's life at all?
No question proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this. What I already know was a very quiet breakup where she got too rabbit hole for him. She would be the logical heir to the TPUSA throne, but she's
and
not.
now she's not even invited.
Correct. So this is so their divide is.
Wait a minute, not invited meaning
she's not even there.
Yeah, she's not.
She's not there.
One of the names.
Wait,
that
you don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No.
That's
I mean
not the funeral.
The heir to the
okay.
TPUSA throne.
She doesn't speak at the events anymore.
I mean.
Okay, so first and foremost, why did they all want to know if I was going to this event? I said there is no way we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying anybody can go to it? You just buy a ticket to the event, and you're all working to try to get me to confirm that I'm going. And you're doing this as if you're trying to push my buttons and be like, we got to make her get into her ego so she shows up and posts it on social media. Nope, actually, while I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event, which the feds are organizing, is probably a very good idea. I'm good. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. How's that for a memorial for Charlie Kirk? That feels like the right thing for me to do right now. I mean, I'm not going to this memorial because it's strange. To lie like this is very strange. For context, just so you can realize how odd this is, I spoke at Turning Point's conference, 2 conferences last year. It's so easily, like I said, debunkable that you have to ask yourself why they are saying it. Here is me speaking on Turning Point USA's stage last year. And here's what I said, by the way, which got Charlie in a lot of trouble.
Well, let me tell you something, America. It does feel so good to go everywhere in the world and to realize that there is awakening, not just happening here. Let me tell you guys, it's happening all across the globe. People are starting to ask the hard questions. And you start getting close when they start to call you names. They instantly want to suggest that there's something wrong and there's something backwards about being America first. You're starting to hear the way they're framing that now. When you say you're America first, they'll ask you, what do you mean you're America first? Do you mean that you're an isolationist? Do you believe that we shouldn't have did what we did during World War II? All of these things trying to pollute it. It's not that difficult. America first. First name America, last name first. We put this country's interests before the interests of foreign countries overseas. All of them. I don't care.
Yeah, it kind of went on and on, but it was kind of me saying, especially since 3 months earlier, I had gotten fired from the Daily Wire, Israel, you're not special. And yeah, Charlie got in trouble for the stuff that I said on stage, and then they came inward. I told that I was not allowed to speak at AmFest. The donors were making threats, but I went on tour with Turning Point last year. It's still on their website. It's this is the strangest thing. We could pull up this website. Live Free Tour, Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. Quiet breakup? Why are we doing this? It's very strange. Here's all the places that we went to last year. Now they are pushing these headlines that are so far beyond the realm of reality, where they say that I'm angry. And then when you look into who's writing these articles, like Victoria Churchill, you note that she has a connection to AIPAC. So AIPAC is pushing this, right? The answer is implied by the people who are attacking me. They are all ultra-Zionists, right? Like I said, the author of that article is an ultra-Zionist. And here she is, starting off 2018 in DC, and she's got a picture of herself. If you can scroll down, I don't know if you can see this, like sitting in the audience in AIPAC, and she's thrilled. America, Israel. It's like all of these people are agents for a foreign country. And I feel like Bibi Netanyahu is spending a lot of money right now. He is just way too involved, concerned about Turning Point USA, the future of Turning Point USA, attacking Candace Owens. And I think something sinister is going on here. How can you not see that? I also want to say this. I have had a flood of Turning Point employees reach out to me, maybe because he says she would have been the natural heir to Turning Point USA. I'm not trying to be the heir to Turning Point USA. I kind of like my life. I don't want to take money from donors, okay? Because they do what they did to Charlie. They're not donating money to charity because they view it as a charity. They're doing it because they want to purchase your voice. That's it. And I don't want to give mine up. But what these people are telling me is a very dark story that involves these donors, sponsors, influencers, a takeover of sorts that I think was happening right under Charlie's nose. And I want to say this formally as we keep investigating this. I believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by people who are close to him. Based on what I have seen thus far, the evidence, the quote unquote receipts that require a way deeper investigation into the apparatus, the financial apparatus at Turning Point, there was definitely some weird activity leading up to this moment happening at the organization, and I've been able to verify it. I have been given names, and I intend to now embark on this lengthier investigation, which I need more help on. I've reached out to some journalists, and I'm sharing the information with them, and I think we're going to discover that this was ugly, uglier than we could have ever imagined, okay? There is a fear here that we are all perceiving, a desperation almost to end the investigation. The smears are becoming radical. You can't just pretend Candace hasn't spoken to Charlie Kirk in years, but they're doing it. And they're trying to be convincing and shocked and putting this out. I've never stopped talking to Charlie. I mean, yesterday I released just one of many messages that I have with Charlie, which prove that he was, in the months leading up to this, concerned about Israel and how Israel was coming after our free speech. Free speech meant a lot to him, right? This message is from May. We can pull that back up, right? Charlie sent me his tweet because after the assassination of Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lachinsky in DC, people were calling for like hate speech laws. And Charlie, authored a long tweet saying these were beautiful people. They had their lives ahead of them, but I must push back against one thing. And again, it was just the justification that this somehow meant that we had to, get rid of free speech. Like suddenly like, oh, well, this happened, so now we need to say free speech is wrong. And so I wrote back to him and I said, great tweet. And he gave prayer hands. And I said, speech censorship is coming to America. And he wrote back, as you can see, and the date here is May 22nd of this year. It totally is, okay? Me and Megan and Tucker are not lying to you. Charlie was concerned about the speech, that he felt the restrictions, and inevitably this happens when you get into bed with Israel. You can't criticize them at all, as Megan said, before you start enduring threats. And what I have learned from the employees there is that back in May, Turning Point had some big changes, some odd changes as they are describing it to me, certain departments, people that were being fired, people that were told that they had to keep certain things a secret. Secret from whom? Secret from whom? Something is not right. Nothing we are being told is true. And the strangest thing is that Pam Bondi, who is a complete loser and a tool, is trying to use the assassination of Charlie Kirk to lay the groundwork for hate speech laws in America. The very thing that Charlie was fighting against. They all just got right to work trying to pass laws. Well, Charlie Kirk is that, so now we got hate speech is something. Exactly what he's messaging me about that he doesn't want to happen. They're trying to use his death to justify. Listen to what Pam Bondi said to Katie Miller on her podcast. Take a listen.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech.
No.
And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle.
So to be clear, that's the feds telling you that they want to pass speech laws, which will basically just give them the full power to go after you for wrongthink, okay? And they're doing it in the most disturbing way ever by going after Charlie Kirk's legacy and using his assassination to say, oh, well, now we've got to get hate speech done, which, by the way, who was the person and the leader who said that he was passing laws against speech in America? That was Bibi Netanyahu, okay? Years ago, on record, saying that he was working with the government of America, and any person that criticized Israel would find themselves on the wrong side of the law, okay? You can find that clip of him saying that. And now what's happening? Well, we have an occupied administration. There's no question. Trump is occupied by Zionists, okay? He's completely impotent. He's completely powerless. He cannot say anything that goes against Israel or Bibi Netanyahu. He's letting them do whatever they want. No pushback whatsoever. It's very clear Bibi is in control, and his administration is saying that. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But this was the plan, okay? This was the plan. And we have to stand up to this, guys. We have to fight this tooth and nail. The reason they're doing this, obviously, is because they can't win in the free markets. People are, as Megan said, people that are under 30 are anti-Israel. So that means the future of America is anti-Israel. So what they're going to try to do is to pass speech laws. Bolshevik speech laws. They're going to arrest us for saying that we don't support Israel. Something that Charlie was passionately against, okay? And we can show you next week clips of him hosting the debate about speech and Israel and whether or not everything was anti-Semitism. And he was very clear in his perception that this was going to increase anti-Semitism, trying to pass speech laws or labeling people anti-Semites for criticizing Bibi Netanyahu. It's all out there. And they're lying to you. Am I wrong am I cynical for believing that, yeah, the feds are obviously lying, and I would say at some level, in a very big way, were involved in the death of Charlie because they wanted this sort of radical way to push through laws? When something chaotic happens, we usually turn to the government. I mean, 9/11, what did we do? We gave them so much power, right? The Patriot Act. Do whatever, just keep me safe. It's like they see your emotion, they see this global emotion, and they want you to just agree with them that the next step is more power for the government. And this time we're saying no. No, Pam Bondi. No, thank you. Genuinely, why are you in office? How can this administration pretend that they are the same administration that they were in 2016 that were fighting against this? The same administration that was going, oh, well, the George Floyd death, radical Dems, BLM, speech laws. It was wrong when the left did it. And it's wrong now that the right is doing it, which leads me to believe that we are fighting opposite sides of the same coin. It's us versus them. The elites versus the rest of us. That's it. Everything else is a mirage. And speaking of free speech, I want to speak about Jimmy Kimmel because he has been pulled off air indefinitely over his comments in the aftermath of Charlie's assassination. So let's take a listen to what Jimmy Kimmel said on his show.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Okay, so that's what he said. Whether or not you think it was a insensitive joke, okay, I don't think that would have been the justification for saying that he now needs to donate to charity and lose his whole life. And this is what happened. He's taken off air, and some people are saying, hey, Candace, they did this to us. And you're not wrong, right? If you are on the right and you are saying that when the whole George Floyd thing happened, people lost their jobs for saying sensible things or making a joke, you are correct. Like, you are right to say, yes, that absolutely did happen. But if you're not recognizing that when you just flip the coin, it's the same people that are gaining more power, I just want the attacks on free speech to stop, okay? I want the reaction, if you're angry about what Jimmy Kimmel said, is for the free markets to take him out, right? He doesn't have a show because nobody's watching.
Okay, you all, that's going to sum up Midnight Rampants. Again, this segment is for us to have a conversation about what's ever on our minds. Tonight, as you can see, we were listening to Candace and her perspective on free speech, hate speech, and that is really not a difference. And also to talk about Charlie Kirk. Do we think we have the right person who killed him, or is it someone else? And again, I don't know how you feel about Jimmy Kimmel and what's going on with him, but again, we have to make sure that we protect free speech. It is our right, and no one can tell us what to say, when to say it. So again, thank you for tuning in to Midnight Rampants. This is something we're going to do each night, and hopefully I'll